To increase support of local animal shelters, Sarah worked with her team to create instructional videos on how to make blankets and dog pull toys that can be donated to local shelters. Sarah donated several of these items to the shelters in her community, and her videos also included an emphasis on supporting community shelters. Anna constructed a unique outdoor experience in a local park. She built butterfly benches for parkgoers to rest and view the various butterfly species. Additionally, Anna placed QR codes at the benches that directed visitors to more information on monarch and tiger swallowtail butterfly species and coloring pages.
In honor of my good friend Maya, I created 3 work booklets for children with disabilities and their families to complete as a way to help introduce the children to teachers, coaches, and other adults who will work closely with these children. The Get to Know Me books are tailored to children with autism, cerebral palsy, and other disabilities.
Knowing firsthand how depression has impacted both her community and her own life, Anna educated students and adults on teenage depression. She sent educational resources to her school and church youth group, as well as local Girl Scout troops, that included videos on different types of depression and coping mechanisms. To provide a wonderful senior year experience to all girls in her high school, Natalie hosted an event where girls were invited to receive a free prom dress. To relieve this financial burden on families, Natalie created a team in her community to offer free dresses, shoes, and jewelry to the more than 100 girls who attended the event. Natalie prioritized the experience of the participating girls so that they each felt truly special. When she noticed community members leaving food like bread and french fries for the birds to eat, Emily set out to educate children in her community on healthy ways to feed and interact with the wildlife and plant life. She created an engaging and educational video and accompanying coloring book for kindergarten and first grade children to focus on choosing healthy foods for themselves and in nature.
When a local elementary school faced budget cuts, I created a music mentorship program that partnered high school music students with children in the elementary school to provide one-on-one instruction for the younger children and leadership opportunities for the high school students.
While noticing that her peers were struggling to stay positive, Hannah created the Positive Project. She started by creating murals throughout the school with positive messages and quotes, then worked directly with elementary and middle school students to teach them tools to recognize the power of their own mindset. Angel partnered with Hope's Villa and Small Town Hope Incorporated, which supports patients through their cancer treatment, to identify that the younger children would benefit from educational resources and activities. She created a busy board with light switches, magnetic letters and numbers, and a chain lock to allow the children to explore ordinary household items. Angel also supplied the organization with a collection of crafts and projects for the children, complete with instructions and supplies.
When I researched curriculum gaps for preschool-age children in my community, teachers expressed a lack of STEM experiences. I created an instruction book with illustrations for teachers with 24 different STEM projects. I then facilitated a lesson for the children in one of the schools that received this resource.
To share the tradition of Girl Scouts outdoor experiences with my community, I created a challenging and fun trail at GSWPA Camp Redwing. I also created and installed informational signs about common trees that are present in western Pennsylvania, as well as placed markers for the trail. To make sure all Camp Redwing visitors could experience the trail, I posted promotional flyers around the camp.
My passion for music and theater inspired me to introduce the art form to younger generations. I created and facilitated a week-long program where children ages 9 through 12 learned about theater basics, practiced stage fighting, played theater games, and performed their own song. Additionally, I painted my high school stage wall, which will increase the visual presentation of all performances to take place on that stage.
Knowing how a stressful home environment can impact learning for children, I worked with families at a local transitional home for domestic abuse victims. I held virtual and outdoor story times, and I encouraged reading through other activities. Additionally, I made display posters that emphasized the benefits of reading with simple steps to become a better reader.
To promote her local library as a resource and teach new skills to members of her community, Olivia facilitated a library program on the art of zine creation, which included an emphasis on the importance of sharing ideas within your community. She also created a lending library at a local park to encourage introduction of new ideas and connections in the face of differences. To support the spiritual welfare of all members of her faith, Ava created 2 books to simplify the Catholic Mass for children and teenagers with autism and other learning disabilities. The book directed the worshipers through the Mass, providing explanation of their rich traditions and prayers.
I have autism. I spent a lot of time in the hospital. I was young. It was very hard in the hospital. Life has made it easier. My Good Scout project is a sookbook. Master book is from the country. We made 2,000 books. It's in the hospitals everywhere. Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh, Cleveland Clinic, Mayo Clinic, and lots more. One of my books is in Australia, some in Ireland. We're working on my second book. I hope a lot of people are happy.
To create awareness and educate both amputees and non-amputees, I created an Instagram account to share inspiration and create a community. My content focused on teaching amputees different ways to complete everyday tasks. By offering uplifting messages and stories of amputees, the account provides a community where there wasn't one and an educational resource for Instagram users across the world.
My passion for art allowed me to introduce local middle schoolers to modern and contemporary art. My overall goal was to make art more accessible for children. I was able to move my art workshops to an online format and distribute free supplies to the attendees. I also run social media accounts that will continue to post about modern and contemporary art.
To provide shelter for feral cats, Rebecca led a team of volunteers to build outdoor cat shelters. The feral cats are able to use them for shelter and warmth during the cold seasons. She was able to provide her community with more than 30 shelters.
To tackle the issue of pet abandonment, I created a downloadable activity book that used engaging activities to educate children on the many responsibilities of owning a pet. I distributed my activity book to local shelters, veterinary offices, and national companies.
Haley addressed the self-confidence of teenage girls by presenting to 6th graders on improving how they feel about themselves, the significance of kindness and acceptance of others in an academic environment, as well as the influence of social media on self-perception. Additionally, Hannah designed and installed positive messages and daily reminders for the middle school girls' restroom to remind girls to be proud of who they are. No one is perfect, but everyone is beautiful.
My passion for women in engineering prompted me to run a 4-day program entitled Be Your Own Superhero STEAM Camp at my local library for elementary-aged girls. Each day was based around a different aspect of STEAM, from engineering and conservation to chemistry. I included components of art, fun, learning, and making new friends.
By working with the school faculty and leading a team of volunteers, Calissa established a combined middle and high school library in her school district. Through book drives, which she coordinated, Calissa was able to acquire, catalog, and organize more than 600 suitable books for the library.
I created a pre-kindergarten crafts and activities book for 2 to 5-year-olds attending Chinmaya Mission, Pittsburgh. The book contains 26 weeks worth of Hindu cultural activities that correspond with the lesson plan from the pre-kindergarten curriculum. The pre-kindergarten book is not only available to the 3 Chinmaya Mission centers in Pittsburgh, but also available to centers across North America.
My project aimed to spread awareness about the lack of self-confidence in children and teens. To address this problem, I utilized my leadership and citizenship skills to create a website that provided research and methods to increase self-confidence in youth in my community.
Samantha wanted to encourage young children to connect and play games, so she created a fun environment at 2 local elementary schools. Samantha painted playground games in the parking lots of the schools. The games included Foursquare, Hopscotch, and Twister.
To raise awareness of the vast resources offered by my local library, I led a series of virtual oil painting workshops. I was able to bring members of my community together through a virtual format while promoting other programs at the library.
As a way to introduce science to young children, I created activity boxes for local preschools. The boxes contain instructions and materials for 6 varying experiments and activities for children to hopefully discover a new interest in the sciences.
To encourage reading in her community, Rebecca built and installed 3 tiny libraries at easy, accessible locations throughout her community. The system of tiny libraries will introduce community members to new ideas and genres and improve accessibility to literature. To promote an understanding of working in the medical field, Mary created, developed, and implemented a student-led medical club for students exploring a career in medicine. Under Mary's coordination and outreach, numerous medical professionals shared their experiences and suggestions to the club, which was comprised of more than 20 members. Brooke constructed opportunities for members of her community to harness the power of music to lift emotions through music therapy. To combat depression and loneliness, she used various techniques and presentation styles to address the needs and abilities of children, adults, and senior citizens. Olivia planted a butterfly garden of host and nectar plants, which she selected to sustain the life cycle of several species of butterflies. Visitors will enjoy the beautiful flowers from a stone walkway through the garden and plant markers displaying the names of each plant grouping. An interpretive sign at the entrance of the garden educates visitors on the importance of butterflies as pollinators, their troubling decline, and how individuals can help. The sign includes a QR code that leads visitors to Olivia's educational website. Kaylin saw a need for a safe space to social distance in her community and took action. She used her experience from Girl Scout camp as inspiration to renovate and rebuild a fire pit for safe social distance gatherings. She built and installed benches as well as provided education to her community on fire safety skills, fire building tips, and utilized the outdoor space safely through instructions displayed at the site. Maggie researched and created lessons to teach preschool-age students mathematics to support their preparation for kindergarten. She also created a full binder of lesson plans, helpful tips for tutors, and extra lessons, which she donated to her local community center for their use.
In response to teen suicide in my community, I created a peer support network to encourage connection over isolation. My program used Zoom, postcards, and online dialogue during COVID-19 to achieve the initiatives of my campaign and connect high schoolers to incoming freshmen.
I created and facilitated a day camp for my community pool to offer the local children the opportunity to unplug from technology and have fun outdoors. I planned games, facilitated volunteers, and helped the participants make new friends.
When Haley discovered that bats were harming historical uniforms stored in a barn at a local park, she supervised the construction and installation of 2 bat boxes that would help relocate the animals safely. Additionally, Haley shared instructions on building bat boxes through a video, which is available on YouTube.
With an interest in environmental rehabilitation and sustainability, I built a water garden at my community park. My water garden was thoughtfully designed to reduce flooding on the walking track after heavy rains. I led a team who helped me dig up the area, lay out the garden to allow for drainage, and select plants that would thrive in the conditions. I worked alongside local experts and community leaders to maximize the results of my solution.
My love of nature and fitness inspired me to make it possible for my local area to have a clear and functional exercise and fitness trail. I created a hiking, walking, exercise trail at my community park where no clear trail currently existed. I cleared approximately 1 mile of trail and installed 10 exercise stations with diagrams and instructions.
To support the environment, Lexi built bee homes, hummingbird feeders, and butterfly puddles and distributed to her community to help the pollinators with the important roles they have in the ecosystem. She also created a website to educate the public about pollinators, their various needs, and how others can help.
I address the stress that parents and families endure when a baby is staying in the neonatal intensive care unit by partnering with an organization called Project Sweet Peas. I created videos for Project Sweet Peas to help promote their work and coordinated a donation drive of toiletry items.
I also held 37 volunteers to make more than 300 Halloween costumes to allow these families to celebrate their baby's first Halloween.
I organized a program which enlisted the help of my local Key Club and other volunteers to create cancer care packages to be donated to the Yolanda G. Barco Oncology Institute to help comfort and ease the effects of chemotherapy treatments. I included inspirational messages as well to help brighten the patient's days.
Avidum, which means I've got your back, was a club concept at a school district in central Pennsylvania. Lexi worked with her school officials to bring the concept into the district by holding assemblies to encourage students to build each other up. Additionally, Lexi painted Avidum-themed murals and planted gardens at the middle school and elementary school and completed a river rock mural in her community. Ella addressed the gap in available information for young kids about food allergies, wilderness food safety, and the environmental impact of food production by creating a day camp program to be hosted at the Fern Hollow Nature Center. Her program was adapted to a virtual offering through the Nature Center's YouTube channel, which allowed her to reach more interested children and remains a resource for families.
Upon learning that only 15% of engineers are women and that entrepreneurial businesses owned by men make more revenue on average than those owned by women, I created a program to promote STEM and business principles to elementary and middle school aged girls in rural areas. I facilitated virtual workshops for children to learn more about underrepresentation, basics of STEM subjects, and leadership.
When I realized the decline of the wood duck population in my area, I wanted to provide my community with education and resources to help. I made several wood duck nesting boxes for Latodami Nature Center, installed them with my team of volunteers, and educated community members through workshops that taught others how to make the boxes. Additionally, I made and posted step-by-step instructional videos on constructing the boxes.
I designed new educational programs to be implemented through the Heritage Discovery Center in my community. My programs focused on the history of immigrants in the area and how their lives affect society today, while emphasizing the importance of acting positively to promote the future of society. I created lesson plans and materials for the programs and led trial runs. The programs will be hosted by the center in the future.
I explored the negative impact of social media overuse on anxiety and depression. I also created a resource portfolio that included research, lessons, strategies, and tools to help teenage girls who experienced anxiety and depression and educate their perspective of what is shown on social media as quote-unquote perfect. I also created and distributed self-care kits to girls in middle school that included tools that emphasized mindfulness and a positive mindset.
To address road safety for the children in my community, I painted the parking lot at my local intermediate school to simplify the student pickup and drop-off process. I also created and shared a short video to explain this process to the students and parents. I taught 3 lessons on road signs, road safety, and how to properly react to an emergency to one of the 3rd grade classes at the intermediate school, which included creating recordings to host the lessons virtually.
To support displaced women in her community, Olivia organized donations for displaced women and created comfort bags for Hope Network. The bags included feminine hygiene products, necessities, and comfort items. She educated the donors on the importance of support, comfort, and love for displaced women. Emily created a women's fair to provide her community with education on important topics that women are dealing with, including exercise, nutrition, heart health, mental health, domestic abuse, and women's empowerment. She coordinated vendors who provided resources and knowledge on each topic.
My passion for environmental preservation prompted me to educate my community about the environment, pollution, deforestation, recycling, and more. I hosted in-person and virtual events spreading the knowledge about our Earth and the environment. I worked with my environmental club to lead the Everyday is Earth Day event.
After losing a close friend from a preventable accident, Alexa took the lead to enhance safety at her school and in her community. Because her school is located on a high-speed, high-traffic road, she added signs around her school to inform drivers of the school zone. She also filled a gap at her school which didn't offer a driver's education course by presenting to her peers on various safe driving precautions.
As a runner, I experienced shin splints and stress fractures. This inspired me to create a course to educate my cross-country team on ways to reduce injury, including nutrition tips and physical therapy exercises.
Allison raised awareness about the harmful effects that inexpensive clothing has on the environment and provided simple steps consumers could take to reduce the impact on our planet. She created an inspirational display at her library, school, and church that featured throwaway clothing transformed into trending fashion options. She also hosted a workshop at her library to teach others how to replicate her work.